Hello, people. It is raining indoors here. For the most part. Does it rain over here? Or just only under the sea top? Yeah. Wow, look at that, dude. Beautiful. Actually incredible. But anyways, today I would like to talk about the dead internet theory. Now, you might be asking me, Sneed, what that? What is dead internet theory? And boy, howdy, do I ever have a tale to tell you, young man. So, the dead internet theory basically says that as the internet, collapses into less and less total places to interact with other human beings, as the internet is taken over more and more by AI. Wait, did I have a lot of money in these? No. I have a little money. So as more and more of the internet is taken over by a smaller and smaller selection of websites, as more and more people are condensed into interacting with a smaller and smaller amount of people, as more and more of the internet is instead filtered through AI-generated, AI chatbots, etc., then there's a lot less of it that's going to be real human interaction. And, you can almost feel the dead internet theory as the quality of human interaction on the internet has, and not just the quality, but the quantity of human interaction on the internet has died off explicitly. So what does that actually mean, though, in the grand scheme of things, right? So, back in my internet days, 90s, early 2000s, the internet used to be a lot more diverse. Used to be a lot more potential websites you could go to interact with people. Used to be a lot more different websites offering different things, and people were just much more spread out on the old internet. That's for you youngins out there that knew, Google actually used to be kind of a valuable resource. Well, this was back before Google, but back then search engines used to be a valuable resource because you would not really be able to find things, or you could find unique stuff all the time just by using a search engine, right? You could go back through the internet, search for, all sorts of random zany stuff, right? And then through that, it would give you unique results, and they were websites that you wouldn't have seen before. Like, modern day search engines are basically just Reddit aggregators for the most part. Like, they look through a few specific websites, and then spit out the results that might be applicable from those few specific websites. Like, trying to find a unique site on the modern day internet is almost impossible just because of the corruption of a lot of these, industries. A lot of your Googles, a lot of your other people. They're pretty much useless. I use Sirex for my searching personally, but you could also argue that, the Russian search engine is superior and offers more unique results, but at the end of the day, trying to find anything through a search engine is actually impossible in modern day, and trying to find even a decently human-generated website is pretty difficult in modernity. Almost all the websites are AI-generated trash where, some robot basically goes and says, okay, I'm going to AI-generate an article based on some keywords, and when you type it in, it's going to pop up on Google because of search engine optimization, rather than actually reading something a person sent. This is really common if you ever tried to Google a recipe for anything, or asked a simple question into Google search engine. Now, you don't really get websites relative to the result. So, for instance, if you want to find something or learn about something on the internet, for instance, you're going to have to either Wikipedia it and then start Googling the general terms around what you're actually trying to learn is to find a website about it, instead of just Googling your question. You used to be able to just Google your question and actually have human-generated websites that have truthful information on it. Nowadays, it's extremely difficult, especially because Wikipedia and Reddit, most of the places suggested by search engines under SEO, search engine optimization, are not even tangentially related to what you're talking about, or they're manipulated with woke lies and more political than actually informative. So, what does that mean? What are the consequences of now all the things you interact with, all of the people, quote unquote, you interact with on the internet being robots, and the internet feeling a lot more dead and soulless than it used to be? I think it leads to a much lower quality internet and a much lower quality experience. Back then, for you Zooms out there that weren't using the internet before, let's say 2010, when all of this started, you didn't get to experience the internet back when it had soul, man. Back when you were like finding random GeoCities websites that were just absolutely nuts. Like, oh my god, man, you've missed out on so much as little zooms here. It brings a tear to my eye just thinking about the old school internet and how much I miss it. You can still see traces of it in places like 4chan on some of the slower boards. Some of the boards where like the Jewish Internet Defense Force or George Soros or political spaces don't have their money invested in spamming, basically, like, or just political robots, which is the vast majority of what's actually happening on the on a lot of boards on 4chan is they're just overrun by bots or paid shills, part of X amount of disgusting degenerate like modernity defenders, we'll call them. So the dead internet, basically. Back in my day, the internet used to be split up amongst a whole bunch of websites, and all of them used to be, interesting and have their own unique flair. You used to be able to find Skitzo content a lot more easily. It used to be a lot more fun. And, I hate to say it, but I think being able to use a computer, you should at least be comfortable with running a terminal. Like, something, back in the early 2000s, like late 1990s, like something... it should be required at least to have that level of competency where you're comfortable opening up a terminal on a computer and typing something in, maybe something you Googled, but still typing something in to solve your problem. We need to get to that point where at least you need to be able to do that before you're allowed to use the internet. Just to improve the general discourse and quality of what's on the internet. There's way too many phone posters. There's way too many, individuals that just don't belong on the internet. I hate to break it to you. I know Grandpa's saying, get off my lawn, but realistically, the modern day internet is just not good because the people on it that you do encounter are not quality people, and the rest of the people you encounter are mostly, AI generated. Like, I'm all for talking to AIs when I'm myself and doing it, but when it's Google's, cucked, cringeworthy content bot, I'm not game with that. AI is powerful and I want to program it for my own, uses and my own interactions, but seeing the level that the internet discourse has dropped to, just browsing Reddit for 15 seconds, if you ever want a soul draining experience, I don't recommend it. Just do that or something, Go to one of the quote unquote popular Reddit pages and see what they're discussing in their absolutely filth-infested echo chamber. And this is the primary source Google uses to, substantiate its search results. It's all just this horrible, almost, what's the word, Ouroboros, atmosphere, and it's just soul-sucking. That's why I keep my friends very close and keep my friend circle very small, just to keep a lot of this influence out, being minimalist with your friends really, and your interactions, and your, the places you go on the internet really help with that. You need to have free speech and soulful platforms, which is the smaller boards on 4chan. Independent image boards are great places to find unique people and go about unique interactions. Oddly enough, IRC is a wonderful place for finding these old school interactions and interacting with the boomer types. And maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe I don't understand zooms, but I've seen enough degenerate TikToks that people have talked about or on random YouTube videos to know that I'm not game. I think the generation is completely corrupted by a lot of this stuff, and they're buying full sail into Google's brainwashing, and Alphabet Corporation does not deserve to be the one influencing children. I think Alphabet Corporation is objectively evil, as Google's the people that own Google Alphabet. I think they're just brainwashing people with LGBT propaganda. They're grooming children. They're a primary evil in the world, and they're someone that needs to be stopped. Either they have a monopoly, I think, on search engines. They need to be broken up or looked at by the U.S. government. They need to get the Microsoft treatment at least. That's my opinion about that. And so, how do we counter the dead internet theory, right? And so, I might make my own website or think about doing something like that relatively soon. I'm kind of getting in the mood, getting the energy back. Recently I've been pretty drained after the whole like RuneScape thing and wasting all that time on that game. And I'm probably gonna play PoE on the 18th, and then after that I might look into start like doing some sort of like work at least. I'm getting the hankering to do something, basically, is what I'm saying. So maybe a website will be coming, maybe nothing will come of it. I'll have to see how I'm feeling then, but after the Path of Exile League, I might be interested in doing some like dead internet combating myself. We'll see, but either way, anything I make, it's going to have an enforced small user base, obviously, and it's going to need to be pure and people that at least, they don't have to agree with me wholly, but share at least some ideas and are willing to accept like minimalism, especially in computing minimalism, perhaps FOSS software and all of that. Maybe I'll make some videos on FOSS or like my setup on Linux and all of that shenanigans. Maybe I'll go into all of that and be a little bit more techy on the channel and a little bit more gamey at times, because I've been plenty gamey all throughout, but who knows? Either way. But that's the way you would combat the dead internet theories, making the internet a better place. I don't want to contribute to society, but I'm certainly interested in contributing to the internet maybe. But again, who even knows? It just makes you a target when you do things like that. And I am already a big enough target as it would appear to some people, so I'll have to think about it. But it should be interesting. Either way, you guys have a great day. Try and make sure your interactions are as soulful as possible, and they're with real human beings. Not people that wear makeup, not people that lie about their things. Trolling is fine, and just keep it to a minimum. I think trolling is extremely harmful to you as a person if you're doing it. As someone who has trolled entirely too much in their life, it ain't good. It's bad. It's bad. Okay. It's harming you as much as it's messing with other people. And that's something I wish I had realized a lot earlier in life. It could have improved my life significantly. So that's another tangent for another video, hopefully. But you guys have a good day. Peace out.